Coming up on EagleVision News, we give you details on the COVID-19 vaccine.
We have an exclusive interview with Biola's president, Barry Corey.
And is marijuana now legal in your state?
Find out all this and more coming up on EagleVision News.
Good evening and welcome to EagleVision News. My name is Ashley Grams.
And I'm Quinn Gorham. And Ashley, we are back on our outdoor set. Last show we were going right into the election.
We were, and it wasn't just that day that the election happened. It ended up being the whole
week. Yeah. Oh man, that was crazy. Can you imagine being one of those journalists in like one of those big market stations that's just covering
up all night,
hours and hours and hours? I think I remember turning the TV on the day after the whole election night, and they were like, "Yeah, we've been up for the last 12 hours,
waiting for results.
Still no winner."
Yeah. But now the results are out, people are less concerned about the president and a little bit more concerned about COVID-19.
That's right, and a new candidate has emerged for the coronavirus vaccine and is entering the final stages of testing later this month. Last week, pharmaceutical company Pfizer announced a highly effective vaccine candidate that would fight the coronavirus. The vaccine is about 90% effective in preventing COVID-19 in its test subjects, which is quite high for a vaccine. Pfizer plans to submit the vaccine for FDA approval by the third week of November once they reach the required safety threshold for the virus. The announcement comes on the heels of the worst week of the pandemic so far in the United States, as the nation recorded almost 185,000 cases last Friday.
Well, I'm glad that a vaccine is actually a candidate now because California actually hit its 1 millionth case.
Right, the entire nation is seeing a huge spike in cases right now, and that's expected to continue trending into Thanksgiving and beyond that. So that vaccine can't come soon enough.
Yeah, I know, and Biola's leadership is actually looking into this as they make plans for spring. I sat down with President Barry Corey to hear more about that. It's an eerie feeling walking through Biola's campus without anyone around, but Dr. Barry Corey wants to change that.
We're pushing much more aggressively, let me just say, than we did this past summer.
Dr. Corey and president of Pomona College, Gabrielle Starr, wrote a letter to the LA Board of Supervisors asking to reopen campuses for spring semester. 24 colleges signed the letter, including Pepperdine, Loyola Marymount, and Caltech.
And they have now asked LA County Department of Public Health to have a compelling reason why there needs to be perhaps additional restrictions on top of the state's restrictions.
Corey said while Biola cares about the health and safety of its students, they also care about student success and wants the Biola community to thrive on campus once again.
And we would be willing to abide by the state's guidelines, but when we have added layers on there, it really disadvantages us against other colleges. And there are other colleges that are great colleges outside of LA County that I don't want to see our students saying, well, I'm just going to go there because I can actually live in the residence hall there and be on campus and have classes in the classroom.
However, if students are allowed on campus, classroom learning could look very different. Currently, faculty and staff are working on a high flex model, which would allow for some students to learn in the classroom and others to tune in virtually.
Let's say we are only allowed to have our classrooms at 25% occupancy. Now, you might have a class with 20 people in that, but that's more than 25% occupancy. And it might be a Tuesday, Thursday class. We might have 10 in the class on Tuesday, the other 10 in the class on Thursday, and those who are taking that class that aren't on campus can log on to that class remotely.
In addition to social distancing guidelines, all students will have to get a mandatory flu shot before moving on campus.
I think we're going to be rolling out some information on that. We're going to provide waivers for students. There'll be more details on that coming. So we think our approach is going to be a very fair approach on the flu shot.
Dr. Corey and the Biola leadership should receive a response from LA County about reopening plans this Tuesday.
Hang in there and realize that, it's probably going to be some more adjusting as we begin bringing students back, but we're going to be okay.
Reporting from Biola University, this is Ashley Grams, EagleVision News.
Well, Ashley, that's really cool that you got to sit down and kind of have a conversation with, Dr. Barry Corey and see how things are going on campus,
Yeah, he was super personable, and what I think is really interesting is that tomorrow the Board of Supervisors is meeting, which means that students and families should know pretty quickly whether those guidelines are going to be more restrictive or they're going to lift, if we're going to get a chance to go back in the spring. Yeah.
Totally, and we'll keep you guys updated on that. But in the meantime, Biola's off-campus engagement has been doing a excellent job of keeping students engaged in the pandemic era. So our reporter Michaela Hayes has the story on one way that they're doing that.
Biola's annual Family Weekend celebration, Pumpkin Pie, took a turn to the virtual world this year. While families usually gather on Metzger Lawn to enjoy the students' various talents, this year the talents were pre-recorded and made into a YouTube video. Once the video was posted, voting was open for multiple days, encouraging the students' friends and family to partake in the long-standing tradition of voting for a winner. Our first place winner was Libby Williams with her Roller Girl routine. I was honored to perform as one of the acts in Biola's first virtual Pumpkin Pie.
Definitely allowed, I think, for more creativity in some aspects, because you didn't just have to deal with the performance aspect of it, and, you know, kind of polishing your act and getting it together, but you also had to deal with this kind of new audio, visual, filming, submitting format that I think we aren't necessarily totally used to, and something that we haven't seen in Pumpkin Pie's past.
While it was not the same experience as years past, on-campus engagement did a great job with creating an opportunity for Biola students to continue to share their talents with the Biola community. This has been Michaela Hayes with EagleVision News.
Michaela, I love to see that reporters like you are involved in our Biola community even during the pandemic. Our reporter Katelyn Quisenberry has an update for us on the weather.
Thanks, guys. It's pretty chilly out there. I know I've been layering up to try to stay warm in this California fall, but luckily we don't have to worry about this for the pumpkin pie as it's all virtual. Let's get right into our 10-day forecast. So here in Los Angeles, we will be looking at an upper temperature of 84. I know I said it'd be cold, but it will progressively get into the lower 70s. And on Saturday, we will actually have our lowest temperature at 69 degrees. All sunny this whole week, so make sure to get your vitamin D in. And that's all I have for you guys now. Back to you at the desk.
Well, Katelyn, you're talking about vitamin D. Our current president, Donald Trump, is not having any issues with that right now. I saw him out on the golf course just a few days ago, you know?
Yes, Quinn. Yeah, he was out there. I mean, if I was the president, I feel like I would be getting so much golf time in at my own personal golf course. Why not, you know?
You need that stress reliever right now, especially with everything going on.
Yes,
It's such an intense election.
It is. It really is.
His family probably needs a break too.
I'm sure. I couldn't imagine the toll it takes on his younger son, for sure.
And it's only getting more intense. Donald Trump is currently challenging the count of the election in several different states. Trump has refused to concede the election despite wide leads by Joe Biden in both the Electoral College and the popular vote. President Trump believes the election to be the most fraudulent election in history and has been citing widespread voter fraud as the reason for his loss. Despite the allegations of fraud, many election officials are adamant about the legitimacy of the 2020 election. Trump has filed lawsuits in several states, including Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Arizona, but several lawsuits have been dropped by legal teams.
And we still don't know which party controls the Senate, and we won't know until January. 2 senators are in a runoff in Georgia. Georgia voted blue for Biden in the presidential election, but their 2 Senate seats are up for grabs. Georgia is headed into a runoff election, which will occur on January 5th. Democrats Jon Ossoff and Raphael Warnock face off against Republicans David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. This race will determine which party runs the Senate. Both groups are pouring millions of dollars into the campaigns to secure their place in Washington. Americans did not just vote on the president last week, they also voted on ballot initiatives. Some states passed new marijuana laws. Our reporter Travia Forte has more on that. Travia?
On Tuesday, marijuana reform made its way through 5 different states: Mississippi, Arizona, New Jersey, Montana, and South Dakota, each state legalizing marijuana use for either recreational or medical use for adults 21 years of age or older. Arizona has fully legalized marijuana use, and under the new legalization laws, adults will be able to possess up to an ounce of marijuana at a time and cultivate up to 6 plants for personal use. Until recent, Arizona had some of the strictest laws in the country. The smallest amount of marijuana found on an individual would have led to a felony. Protected under the state constitution, South Dakota has now legalized recreational and medical marijuana use. Individuals are able to grow up to 3 plants if they live within a jurisdiction with no licensed marijuana retailers. It also allows distribution and sale with a 15% tax. Mississippi has decriminalized and legalized medical marijuana, with up to 68% of voters supporting medical marijuana use. According to MarijuanaMoment.net, the proposal will allow patients with debilitating medical issues to legally obtain marijuana after getting a doctor's recommendation. Montana has passed 2 complementary ballot initiatives to legalize, regulate, and tax marijuana for adults 21 years of age and older. Constitutional Initiative 118, which amends the Montana Constitution to set the legal age for marijuana at 21, was passed 58% to 42%. New Jersey is another to be added to the list of fully legalization of marijuana. It now makes the possession of up to 2 ounces of cannabis a civil penalty punishable by a $50 fine and no jail time. This big win for marijuana reform comes just in time, as many state economies haven't been negatively affected by the coronavirus pandemic. This has been Trivia Forte with EagleVision News.
Well, a lot of things have come out of the election, especially in the last week when we've kind of had time to decompress from it all. One of those is people are making a lot of viral TikTok videos. So we have one of those for you guys. Let's take a look.
With their 29 picks in the 2020 draft, the state of New York selects Joe Biden from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
That was pretty funny. But, you know, the NFL is one of the only sports really going on right now because baseball and the NBA have both wrapped up their seasons.
And we're already into week 10 of the NFL, actually, and our reporter, Natalie Willis, has an update.
The NFL season has reached week 10, and things are not looking easier in terms of handling the coronavirus. Green Bay Packer quarterback Aaron Rodgers said he sees a double standard in the NFL safety protocols. He claimed you can dap a guy up after a game, but you can't eat at the same lunch table as him. Several teams deal with positive test results, but so far, the NFL has not had to postpone any games. The Tennessee Titans and Indianapolis Colts kick the week off with an important AFC South matchup that will have playoff implications for the future. The Buccaneers are coming off of an embarrassing loss to the Saints, and the Panthers narrowly lost to the Chiefs last week. The Bills will look to build off of an impressive win over the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday as they come up against the Cardinals. Last Sunday, Derek Carr led the Raiders to victory against the Chargers in a 31-26 game after his jump heard round the world led to a much-needed first down. After the game, Carr bragged about his jumping skills, stating, "Can I dunk? The fact that that's a question is kind of offensive to me." The Raiders and Broncos are meeting for the first time this season on Sunday. I'm Natalie Willis, back to you.
I actually saw a great video earlier this week about a 21-year-old man, Chris Nikic, with Down syndrome, and he finished an Ironman. Let's roll that clip.
As the first person with Down syndrome to conquer the Ironman triathlon, and has now set his sights on the Special Olympics to be held in 2022.
Dang, that's actually a really cool, little clip there. Very inspiring, especially in the year 2020. I think we can all use like a nice, wholesome, uplifting story like that.
Yeah, it's good encouragement. I mean, I'm 20 and I could not do an Ironman.
Yeah.
Props to him for being able to do that.
Yeah, that's really cool. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us today on EagleVision News.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Biola EV.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye.